My wife cheated on me with my brother. I walked in on them. That's how this starts. That's how everything else ends. Now rewind. 6 months ago, the house smelled like vanilla candles and burnt bacon. My wife's idea of a Sunday morning was trying to cook and failing spectacularly, while blasting 90s pop like she was still 16. I'd always laugh and tell her the fire alarm didn't need testing, but the truth is, I loved it. I loved all of it. I was 42, and I thought I had it figured out. I was wrong. It started small, like all disasters do. Little slips. She forgot I told her about a work dinner. She accidentally left her phone in the car more often. She changed her perfume, something musky and sharp, not the soft stuff I used to find on my pillow. I noticed. I cataloged everything. I just didn't say it out loud. Then came my brother, Mike, 3 years younger. Always the golden boy. Quarterback turned real estate hotshot. The kind of guy who walks into a room and immediately makes you feel like a background extra in your own life. He'd been divorced twice by then, both times his fault. But Julie, my wife, said he just needed stability. He's lonely, she told me. Be nice. So I was. Mike started dropping by more. First on Sundays. Then on weekdays. Then, just for a drink. Julie would light up when he came in. I told myself I was imagining things. Told myself that little smile she gave him was nothing. Told myself the laughter wasn't flirty, that the pauses in conversation weren't loaded. But deep down, my gut knew. It always knows before you do. That's the worst part. Your brain works overtime to deny what your stomach already understands. She started dressing different. Tighter. Younger. She'd put on lipstick before he showed up. Once, I asked her why she was wearing heels just to watch Netflix at home. She said it was for me. I laughed. She didn't. Then came the questions. Subtle, sideways. Why don't you go see your brother more? Why not let Mike help us out with the renovation? Why don't you let loose like him? I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself it was jealousy. And I hated it. Hated how it turned me inside out. Hated that my brother, the one who used to pee in my cereal as a kid, could still make me feel like I was losing at life. At love. Then one night, I came home late. Julie was asleep on the couch. Her phone was on the floor, screen cracked, still lit up. A message. That was close. I don't know how much longer we can sneak around. No name. I stared at it like it might change if I looked long enough. I felt my hands shaking. Not rage. Not yet. That would come. This was something colder. Like watching the world fall away. I didn't ask her about it. I didn't mention it. I just backed out of the room, slow and quiet. Like a man leaving a crime scene. The next day, I made excuses. Told her I was heading to the office early. But I didn't go to work. I followed her. She wasn't going to the store like she said. She wasn't meeting her friend Laura. She drove across town, parked by a park I knew well. Mike was already there. In his truck. She climbed in. They didn't see me. They stayed in there for 37 minutes. I know, because I watched every second. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. I needed undeniable. I needed nuclear. Over the next week, I set up a spare phone. I installed tracking apps. Cameras. Microphones. She didn't notice. Of course she didn't. She was too busy sneaking off, too busy lying. And Mike was too dumb to suspect me. I started recording everything. Every whisper. Every half-dressed rendezvous. Every smug little smirk they shared when they thought no one was watching. I cataloged betrayal like a war photographer in a foreign land. But I didn't say a word. Not yet. Julie still kissed me goodbye in the mornings. She still texted, "Love you," before bed. She still cooked breakfast on Sundays. And I played along. Because if she wanted a performance, I was going to give her the best act of my life. Every smile I gave her was another knife I was sharpening behind my back. And Mike started asking me weird questions. How's everything at home, bro? You and Julie doing all right? Like he wanted permission to keep ruining my life. Like he needed me to say, it's okay, take her, she's yours. But I stayed silent. Until I wasn't. Because some things deserve to be destroyed slowly. And the best revenge is personal. I started tracking their schedules like a detective building a case. Not just the obvious, when she left, where she went, but the quiet details. The frequency of showers right after getting home. The change in her playlists. She always used to listen to soft rock. Now suddenly it was sultry acoustic blues and moody, indie heartbreak anthems. I'd hear it leaking from the bathroom door while she got ready, or humming light, like nothing was wrong. Every note made my teeth clench. I played dumb. I kissed her cheek when she left. I waved at Mike when he came by just to catch the game. He'd act casual, cracking beers, talking stats. He even had the audacity to ask about her birthday plans. He knew I was listening. That was the sickest part. They were playing a game where I was the joke. I waited. I got quieter, pulled back, made myself invisible in my own home. And she seemed fine with that. She filled the space I left with her phone, long showers, sudden cravings that took her to the store at 9 p.m. And always that same story. Sorry I'm late. I ran into someone. I'd nod. One night she came home flustered. Hair tangled, lipstick smudged just enough. She went straight to the bathroom and locked the door. I stood there, staring at the lock, heartbeat in my ears. She started singing in the shower. Loudly. Off-key. It made me sick. When she came out, towel around her like a shield, she smiled like nothing had happened. Did you miss me? She asked, coy. I smiled back. Always. Because that's what liars do. They play the long game. And I was playing mine now. At work, I told my assistant I needed to be unreachable some afternoons, family stuff, I said. I started watching. Listening. I installed a camera in the garage, her favorite exit point. Another in the living room, one under the kitchen cabinet facing the back door. I even bugged her car when she left it unlocked. She never checked. I tracked her miles. Her gas. The calls she deleted. I ran the numbers like a bookie. The patterns were there. She didn't even try to hide them. They never do. Not when they think you're asleep at the wheel. Not when the betrayal feels like sport to them. Mike stopped calling me, stopped showing up when I was around. I think he started to worry. Or maybe she told him I was pulling away. That she had space. That she had room to breathe. She started wearing cologne. She'd hug me and smell like him. And I'd hug back, because she needed to believe I was still in the dark. One night, she left her laptop open. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at it. Just her email. Harmless. A few receipts. Some Pinterest boards. One titled, The Next Chapter. It was filled with cabin rentals, vacation plans, his and hers, interior designs. There was no mention of me in any of them. That's when I started planning my own chapter. I bought a burner phone. I created an email address under a fake name. I used it to reach out to lawyers, private investigators, surveillance experts. I wanted every angle covered. Not just the betrayal, but the aftermath. The cleanup. The war. I needed the truth under glass, labeled, sealed, and undeniable. Because when the curtain finally dropped, I wasn't just going to expose them. I was going to end them. They wouldn't even hear it coming. And still, every night, I'd kiss her goodnight and say, sleep well. Because soon, she wouldn't. She started locking the bathroom door when she showered. That hadn't happened before. At first, I thought maybe it was subconscious, just a habit, a slip. But no, it became routine. Click. Water. Silence. Humming. I stood outside that door a few nights, hand hovering near the knob, listening. Not for anything obvious. Just for her. I wondered what she was thinking in there. If her thoughts were about me, or him. Or if she'd already rewritten the story in her head where I was the villain and she was the victim. They do that. They always do. I didn't confront her. I didn't yell. I didn't demand answers. No. I started asking better questions. Like why she only ever went grocery shopping on Tuesdays now. Why she always insisted I didn't need to come along. Why she'd smile wide when she left the house and return empty-eyed, like a switch had been flipped. She wasn't just cheating on me with another man. She was cheating on our routines. She used to wake up and make coffee. Now she'd come into the kitchen already holding a travel cup, full, hot, steaming. I asked her where she got it from once. She said the drive-thru near the gas station. But I knew their cups. They were red, not white. Hers was white, no logo. I didn't say anything. I just took a picture of the cup the next time she left it in the sink. Then I looked it up. Turns out there's a bakery on the south end of town that uses that brand of cup. I drove by. Guess who owns that bakery? Not Mike, but one of Mike's best friends. Someone I'd seen around for years. A guy who used to play poker with us, who always complimented her perfume. One of those men who never stopped smiling. Always polite. Always watching. I kept driving. She didn't just change her coffee spot. She started changing her routine at night, too. She used to curl up beside me on the couch, legs tucked under, watching true crime. Now she stayed in the kitchen cleaning after dinner. Except I knew those counters didn't take 45 minutes to wipe down. She didn't touch me anymore. Not unless I touched her first. And even then, it was mechanical. Like she was going through the motions. like she was guilty and trying to balance the scale with obligation. I stopped touching her. Let her feel the absence. Let her feel the silence grow close. And when she started to ask, "Is everything okay with us?" I smiled, told her I was just tired from work, that I appreciated her, that I loved her. Every word was true. I appreciated the betrayal. I loved the war she'd started. She told me she wanted to start planning a vacation. Said we hadn't traveled in a while. Said she wanted to get away from it all. She had the audacity to suggest Mike come with us. He could use the break, she said. He's been going through a lot. I nearly laughed. Instead, I told her I'd think about it. Then I opened a new document on my computer and titled it Operation Reclamation. Because that's what this was now. I wasn't fighting for her. I was fighting to take back what she thought she could steal: my time, my dignity, my name. I kept collecting receipts, text logs, voice memos. I got a second car, a junker with tinted windows, and started trailing her in it once a week. Tuesdays. Always Tuesdays. I watched her pull into a strip mall once, behind a UPS store. There's a narrow alley back there, tight enough that two cars can't pass. She parked. 10 minutes later, Mike's black SUV pulled in. He didn't park, just idled. She walked over and got in. I recorded the whole thing. They were in there 28 minutes. She came back smiling. He didn't even leave first, she did. Bold. She drove off. I followed. She stopped at the gas station, bought gum and an energy drink, and then came home like nothing happened. That night, she sat across from me at dinner and asked if I'd remembered to pick up the dry cleaning. I said yes. And I wondered how many men get asked to run errands by the woman who just climbed out of their brother's car. The next morning, I found one of her earrings on the passenger side floor of my actual car, the one she rarely used anymore. I held it in my palm for a long time. It was cheap, not one I'd given her. Probably not even one Mike had. I left it on her vanity. She never mentioned it. She knew I knew. At least part of her did. But knowing isn't proof. Not to her. Not until it's shoved down her throat in front of everyone who matters. She needed to feel the fall. I wasn't going to rob her of that. Mike was more careful now. He stopped texting her in front of me. He started being busy when I invited him out. Still came over sometimes, but less. He avoided eye contact. He'd give me these half-hearted bro smiles and ask about my job. I played along. But I noticed something new. Every time Mike left, she'd follow him out to say goodbye. And they'd talk. Behind the car. Just out of sight. I recorded it once. No audio. But her hands touched his arm. His hand grazed her back. Long, slow, intimate. I sent the footage to my burner email. Labeled it Fuel. That week, I started reshaping the house. One camera under the bed. One in the basement. I even wired a recorder into the smoke detector. Then I planted bait. Told her I had a weekend business trip coming up. Out of town. Unavoidable. She barely waited 3 seconds before saying, "That's okay. I've got plans anyway." I didn't ask what kind. I just nodded. That night, she wore lingerie I hadn't seen in months. Initiated sex. Hard, fast, urgent. She was cleansing herself. I let her. After, she cried. Just a little. I pretended to be asleep. The trip? Fake. I parked the junker 2 blocks away and waited. Watched. 12 hours. She didn't go out. But at 9:12 p.m., Mike came to the door. Hoodie up. Hands in his pockets. She let him in. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. The house was live. I watched from my laptop in the back seat of my car. They didn't turn the lights off. They didn't go upstairs right away. I watched them in the kitchen. He leaned against the counter. She leaned into him. They kissed. I paused the stream. I didn't need to see more. Not yet. I closed the laptop, put it on the passenger seat, and lit a cigarette for the first time in 5 years. I sat there in silence. Not broken. Not sad. Just focused. Because now I had it. I had all I needed. And still, they had no idea what was coming. They thought this was a game. They thought I was the fool. But the thing about fools? Sometimes they're just men waiting for the lights to go out, so they can strike from the dark. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the parked car and listened to them through the wireless audio stream piped from the house. Her laugh was muffled, too rehearsed. His voice was lower than usual, less cocky, more cautious. I could hear them move through the house. Kitchen to hallway. Hallway to stairs. Then silence. I didn't need to hear what came next. It wasn't about pain anymore. I'd already swallowed enough of that to drown a lesser man. This was about architecture, planning the kind of collapse that doesn't just ruin a life, it scrapes it clean off the map. No trace, no ashes, just the ghost of a screen. At 3:17 a.m., Mike left. I watched from the rearview mirror as he tiptoed down the walkway like a teenager sneaking out. Hoodie pulled tight. Head down. He got into his car and sat there for a while, maybe breathing, maybe praying. Then he drove off. I didn't follow. I walked back to my own front door like I hadn't just witnessed the world bleed. The lock clicked open, and there she was on the couch, blanket over her legs, phone in hand, pretending to be asleep. I watched her chest rise and fall, a little too fast. Her breathing wasn't right. It wasn't the rhythm of rest. She wasn't asleep. I stared for a full minute before walking to the kitchen, opening the fridge, and cracking a beer. I didn't drink it. I just wanted her to know I was home. She didn't move. She stayed in that pose for another hour before she woke up, yawned, stretched, and said, "Oh, I must have passed out." I nodded. "Welcome home," she said. I nodded again. I went to bed without another word. She stayed downstairs, probably texting him, or deleting things. I didn't care. Everything she did now was just fertilizer for the garden I was planting. The next day, I acted like I was sick. Called in from work. Spent the day setting digital bear traps. I cloned her phone to my laptop using the backup I'd made 2 weeks prior. Every message she sent now came to me in real time. I installed a keylogger. Reset our home Wi-Fi to route through a VPN of my design. I could see everything. Emails, deleted photos, draft text she never even sent. She had no idea. That night, I cooked dinner. Her favorite, lasagna with garlic knots and a red wine she claimed gave her headaches, but still drank anyway. She smiled when she saw the table. "Feeling better?" she asked. "Getting there," I said. She kissed my cheek. I let her. We ate like we were normal. We laughed. She told me about her day, about how her friend Angela was having marital issues, how sad it was, how people throw away good things over stupid feelings. I asked if she believed that, if love could survive betrayal. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Absolutely. But not everyone deserves forgiveness." I poured more wine, topped off her glass. Later that night, when she showered, I slipped into her side of the closet. Her purse was there. I found a crumpled receipt from a downtown boutique, expensive. Lingerie, paid in cash. I hadn't seen it. That was confirmation number 63. I took nothing, just photographed it, then replaced it perfectly. I wanted her to feel safe, unwatched, free, because people only expose themselves when they believe no one is looking. That weekend, I told her I wanted to reconnect. Said I was feeling distant and needed some alone time with her. She agreed, almost too quickly. Said we should rent a cabin, somewhere private. No phones, just the two of us. I agreed. We booked it for 2 weeks out. She smiled as she clicked confirm. I watched the way her hand trembled slightly as she turned the screen toward me. I wondered if it was nerves or guilt. Then she said it. "Maybe this will save us." I kissed her, harder than usual, because I was going to burn everything to the ground and smile while the ashes whispered her name. I started buying things. Slowly, quietly. A prepaid Visa, a burner phone, a duplicate SIM card of her number. I forged documents in Photoshop, rental agreements, utility bills, bank transfers. I wasn't just planning a confrontation. I was planning an extinction. Mike texted her later that night while we were watching a movie. She laughed at something on her phone, locked the screen, and leaned into me. I let her, even put my arm around her. She looked up and whispered, "Do you still love me?" "Yes." "Really?" I kissed her forehead. Because revenge like this requires patience. Surgical precision. You don't just throw a bomb. You put it under the floorboards, wait for them to dance, then smile as they disappear into the crater. The next morning, I called my lawyer. Told him I wanted everything airtight. Full custody if kids were involved. Financial ruin if possible. He asked me what happened. "Not yet," I said. "Just prepare." He asked if this was about infidelity. I didn't answer. "Understood," he said. Mike sent her a photo the next day, just his face, grinning, holding a bottle of wine. Caption, "For next time." I saved it. Labeled it Exhibit 12. Her reply? "Can't wait." That one hurt. Still didn't react. Instead, I started staging. I took pictures of myself with her in public. Hugs. Dinners. Holding hands. I asked strangers to snap photos of us at parks, pretending to be the perfect couple. Just building a memory album, I'd say. But I wasn't building memories. I was building a story, one that would obliterate theirs. Then I booked another cabin, just for Mike, in his name, with my burner. Set it for the same weekend. Different location. I planned the texts, scheduled them with precision. Can't wait to see you alone, one read. Finally some time without the guilt, said another. All sent from a clone number. Let them wonder. Let them both think they were being set up. Let paranoia rot the connection they build on rot. 2 weeks passed. Fast. We packed for our trip. She was giddy, playful, distant and close in alternating waves, like a woman dancing at the edge of a cliff she knows is crumbling. On the drive up, she played music, our songs. She held my hand and said, "Thank you for trying." I nodded. We pulled into the cabin. Wooden. Isolated. Perfect. I unpacked the bags. Set up the cameras. Pretended they were for memories. She never questioned it. That night, as the fire cracked and the snow drifted outside, she told me she felt reconnected. Said she wanted to fix things. Said she was sorry if she ever made me feel unloved. I stared into her eyes and said, I know. Because soon, she'd know exactly how I felt. And Mike? He was going to get the message too. They both were. Because revenge isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the sound of a man digging graves behind your back while you sip wine and talk about healing. It's coming. The night before the storm, I stood over her sleeping body and wondered if she dreamt about him. If her mind wandered to places I had never been allowed to go. If she ever saw my face in the dark and flinched, not from fear, but from guilt. Her breathing was soft, steady, peaceful in a way that made my fist curl tight around the bed frame. But she didn't stir. Because people like her only fear what they can see. And I'd made sure to become invisible. At 5:13 a.m., I slid out of bed and into the cold. The mountains around the cabin groaned with winter's breath. The kind of silence that warns you, this place doesn't forgive mistakes. I had no intention of making any. The cameras were rolling, not hidden anymore. I'd moved one to the mantle, bold and obvious. She asked about it the night before. You're not going to record everything, are you? She laughed. Just the moments that matter. She smiled. Thought I was being sentimental. She had no idea. I brewed the coffee strong. Burnt it a little on purpose. She hated that. I wanted her senses off balance. Just enough to shift her footing. She came down the stairs in my flannel, hair messy, no makeup, looking like the girl I married. Looking like the girl who once whispered that she'd never hurt me. We ate in silence. Her phone buzzed once, she ignored it. Twice. The third time, she picked it up. She turned her back to me when she read the message. I watched her shoulders tense. Just a flicker. But I saw it. Everything okay? I asked. Yeah, she said too fast. Just work stuff. At 9:01 a.m., Mike received the first scheduled message from her number. I don't know if I can go through with it. At 9:05, another. He's acting strange. He keeps watching me. I tracked his reply on the clone feed. You're just nervous. Stick to the plan. You're almost out. That was the first crack. He thought I was gone. He thought today was the day she'd leave me. He had no idea where I really was, or what I had planned. At 9:13 a.m., I opened my laptop, logged into the hidden drive, and began uploading every photo, every video, every time-stamped call log to a private server. I had contacts now, people who owed me favors. A journalist, a former prosecutor, a judge's assistant. People with reach. I didn't just want to destroy their secret. I wanted to make it infamous. She was still upstairs taking a shower when I slid the flash drive into the hidden compartment under my jacket. When she came down, towel over her shoulders, phone clutched in her hand, she tried to act casual. I was thinking we could go for a walk, she said. I nodded. We walked in silence through the trees, her boots crunching beside mine. She looked up at the sky and said, This place feels like the end of the world. I said, It is. She laughed like it was a joke. By noon, Mike had driven an hour in the wrong direction. He arrived at the second cabin, the one I'd booked under his name. There was a note on the table. You made a wrong turn. And taped beneath it, a photo of me and her, arm in arm, her lips on my cheek, dated the night before. He tried to call. Her number went straight to voicemail. I'd set the clone to do that at exactly 12:04 p.m. The real phone? Still in her pocket. Still oblivious. At 12:30, we made sandwiches. She asked if I'd forgiven her yet for the distance. For the fights. I said I had. I'm glad, she said. I feel like things are finally going back to normal. I stared at her. This was her normal. Lies wrapped in smiles. Betrayal folded into routine. She thought she was winning. At 1:15 p.m., Mike started texting again. Where are you? What's going on? Did he find out? I watched the panic rise like floodwater in real time. Then he called me. Not her. Me. I answered on speaker. He didn't say hello. He just breathed. Mike, I said calmly. How's the weather out there? You son of a... I know. Silence. What did you do? He asked. I looked at her. She was washing dishes, humming. I gave you a choice, I said. You chose the knife. I hung up. She turned around, her face pale. Who was that? Spam, I said. By 3 p.m., he was back on the highway, driving recklessly, trying to find us. He wouldn't. I'd left false trails. GPS pings from other counties. Booked hotel rooms in cities I hadn't set foot in. He was chasing shadows. She was chasing peace. I was chasing blood. At 4:45, I handed her a gift, wrapped in brown paper. Twine. What's this? A reset, I said. She opened it slowly. Inside was a photo album. Page after page of our happy moments. Our wedding. Our first home. Her birthday last year. Then the photos changed. Her and Mike. At the park. Outside the bakery. In the alley behind the UPS store. In our bedroom. In his car. Each captioned. Each dated. She flipped through them, slower and slower. The color drained from her face. When she looked up, I was already standing. She opened her mouth. Don't, I said. She closed it. You want to know how long I've known? I asked. She nodded. Long enough to know this wasn't a mistake. Tears welled up, but I wasn't moved. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. I'm not here for your apology. I'm here to end you. Her lip trembled. Please. No. I tossed her phone on the table. It buzzed with new messages. She didn't touch it. You had every chance to stop, I said. Every chance to tell the truth. You thought I was too weak to see it. Too stupid to understand. I didn't. You did. She backed against the wall. Everything's gone, I said. The house is sold. The account's emptied. Your name? You won't want to show your face when the story drops tomorrow. What? I held up the flash drive. This is going to every family member, every friend, every coworker. You won't walk into a room again without hearing whispers. You can't. I already did. She slid down the wall, sobbing. I didn't feel a thing. You betrayed me with my own blood, I said. You don't come back from that. She looked up, broken. Where will you go? Somewhere your name doesn't echo. I walked to the door, stopped, and turned. He's ruined too, by the way. Fired this morning. Clients dropped him. His ex? Suing for custody. She stared at the floor. Goodbye, Julie. I closed the door behind me. The cold hit like a baptism. I walked to the edge of the mountain, lit a cigarette, and watched the trees sway like they knew. I had nothing left to say. Only peace to chase. And silence to keep me company. Subscribe to hear more stories.